I was following this news about the cops in New York City that turned their backs on the mayor, and I was wondering, and I haven't read anything in the media about this, is if there's a policy in the New York City Police Department where you're not allowed to engage in any political activity while you're in uniform. And I'm imagining a lot of these cops might have been on duty at the time when they attended the uniform. So not only are they in uniform, but they're at work, turning their back on their boss.
You know what?
Have you heard anything?
I don't know if there is a specific policy against that. I imagine there is. I do know that the chief of police in New York basically sent a memo to the force asking, but not ordering them to not turn their backs on while the mayor was speaking. That's basically what my understanding is. So in other words, he was basically saying, like, look, you want to do this, do it, but I'm asking you not to because it makes you look like a bunch of jerks. And they said, F that. We can be jerks. We carry guns.
You're talking about jerks?
Jerks!
Whoa!
Whoa, wait a second. Why are you offending us?
You know what? I read a piece, someone posted it, and it got annoying because there was a lot of, it was actually published on a conservative website, so there's a lot of kind of, a lot of gratuitous stuff in it, but they made an important point, I think, particularly from a conservative perspective, because they were actually saying that this behavior by the police was a threat to democracy in some respects, which I think in some it clearly is, and that they said, look, the police basically want to be treated with the same deference that the military is treated with. And that's an intrinsic problem because the police are domestic, so that's an obvious thing. But the second thing is that you never, ever, ever, like even if you took a poll that said, 10% of the military likes Obama, the rest hate him, they would never, is President Obama going to go to a single function and not get saluted, not get treated with utter respect?
Right. You have to maintain that discipline.
You have to maintain that discipline. And as soon as they cross that line, I mean, it is, the work stoppage is having a great unintended consequences. But the idea that you're just like, oh, well, you're being rude. You hurt our feelings. We're not going to be out here. It's kind of mind blowing.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
I felt the same way, but I was torn because I wish that, you remember when Bush was so unpopular later in his term to where all he would speak to is in front of military troops who couldn't, boo him, really. They weren't allowed to.
Right.
I wish at least one time wouldn't it have been great if they had turned their backs on Bush? Wouldn't that have been fantastic? It would have been wrong, and there would have been a penalty for them to pay, which they'd go into it knowing. But wouldn't it have been great if that happened? But I think these cops in New York City, I don't know if it's their union that's too powerful or...
I don't think there's the same level of policy, and I don't know. Look, you don't hear the mayor is referred to as the officer in chief or whatever it is. But I think it's problematic, but it makes them look like jerks. It makes them look like jerks. Appreciate the phone call.
Also, I think just to add though, and I'm not sure about this, but cops are coming from across the country to show solidarity. And not every cop are turning their backs to him. So I don't even know, like, some of these people could be like, a cop from Georgia who's like in town and doesn't like, the communist mayor we got or whatever. I'm not saying, I know a lot of NYPD guys are doing this, but not all of them are. And there's plenty of cops coming from out of town. And,
right. Who knows?
Who really knows how it actually, there is some amazing picture going around of one cop facing de Blasio, and then everybody around him has their backs turned, and he's sort of like bucking peer pressure. It's quite a picture.
And that cop actually is now a lieutenant.
Exactly.
The number 646-257-3920.
Yeah, exactly. You should be thinking a little strategically right now, officers. Good time to chain of command.
Exactly.